Okay, Keri, you're ready to go.
Yeah,
It's all happening.
Done. A few last jobs. But
Yeah, absolutely.
as ever.
And it's on a boat I know really well because I beat him last time in 2021.
Oh, well, you should be competing this time.
No. I would never beat this boat because you're on board now. And that's not with all due respect to Pete, of course. He's here. I haven't seen him.
He is here.
Actually,
And, by his own admission, Pete was a good sailor and built a great boat.
Yep.
But as he said, he didn't have that depth of racing experience.
Yeah.
To know the thresholds of what the target speed should be, etc.
Absolutely.
But
we had some great conversations though,
Great guy.
Anyway, but you've changed the boat. Like I'm looking at it thinking, it looks a bit faster already. You've done your. How long ago did you buy the boat?
So I bought the boat. This is a good story actually. I was working in Hawaii in the Pacific, and I'd bought the plans for 31 right at the beginning.
Yeah.
But because the Navy sent me out to Hawaii for 3 years.
Yeah.
The implications of trying to build my boat there was just too difficult.
Too hard.
The neighbours got upset when I did up my soling and then an international 14. And I nearly got evicted. So I thought, okay, that would be the final straw.
Yeah.
So I saw Pete's boat. In fact, your boat came on the market and sold very quickly. Pete's, which I always admired, came on the market and he'd done those 2 videos.
Yeah.
Is it North Latitude, his YouTube site.
Yep.
One of him sailing the first mini globe race, transatlantic race rather, and then of a subsequent one, which I saw more about the technical detail of how he built it.
Yeah, that's good.
And seeing those videos, I was in Phu province in Vietnam at the time, doing some work for the US Navy. Saw them in my hotel and thought, right, okay. Phoned him and said, yeah, I'll buy it. And I was flying back to Ho Chi Minh City, back to Saigon. And between takeoff and landing, I made the decision I'd buy it, told him I would. And then when I tried to get the deposit sorted out, he suddenly had cold feet. He thought, hang on, this sounds all a bit too weird. This guy in Vietnam, wants my bank account details.
Yeah.
So, I didn't see the boat until I came back from Hawaii, which was sort of October last year, or September. We came down to watch the beginning of the Ocean Globe race. And that's when we did the handover, when you were down in Southampton. And I put the boat in the water for a bit in France. Sailed her twice, as I said, but I just found the deck layout was too frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have
fancy. Yeah, he had all the big fancy stuff across the top.
Yeah, it was good. It was good what he had.
Yeah.
It was just, I'm a dinghy sailor and I'm used to being back off with the tiller between my knees and spinning sheets.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't reach anything. So I really simplified it, as you can see.
Yeah,
and it was very fortunate that Harkin UK provided me the support for the deck gear.
Yeah.
And Rooster, a long relationship with Rooster, one of my sort of favourite marine companies, and they provide all the Halitech ropes and all the Dyneema.
Okay. But it's very much a dinghy boat, like your 360 sheeting donuts there.
And this is a great piece. When I put the eyes on it too, that moves so easily. And because I don't have a winch, getting sheet tension could be tricky, but you can actually tweak it in on those. So loosen them and bring them in. Yeah,
that's the other big difference. You don't have winches, you've just got all ropes.
And I did set up this, which I did have a 2-to-1 on the jib sheets, and then I could get it to 6-to-1 for fine-tune upwind. But I think I could just luff and do that.
So that's the jib sheet, so you lock it onto the sheet and then
you can double up the jib sheet. And it comes back through here into there. But I'm going to use that differently. The one thing I struggled with was getting enough, when I was pulling out a reef, shaking out a reef downwind, getting enough main halyard tension on, just getting the main up. So I think I'll just use that with a Prusik knot around the main halyard, which is that one. And then I've got another 3-to-1 I can pull in to get the last bit of main halyard tension.
Yeah, you really need to be a dinghy sailor to work out what's going on here.
So and then I've backed them all up with very low tech, like the Setkas use, just the cleats like that. But these Harkin cleats, as long as the springs, in fact, it's a good idea really to leave them relaxed so the springs don't corrode. Yeah,
that's true.
But then you get slack halyards, so keep those clean.
So
but they're really good.
Structurally though, they're new cockpit locker lids.
No, he had those.
They're the original ones.
Pete. The only thing I changed there, I shortened the tiller by about 4 inches.
Yeah.
And I could take another 3 inches off it, I think.
Yeah.
Because it just gives me more room back aft for manoeuvres and doesn't throw my head forward into the Traveller and the main sheet. And the Traveller's, new Harkin Traveller. My daughters bring out that's a block from another yacht I've got, which but there's a smaller main sheet block. That's way oversized for this boat.
And you've got truckloads of solar on the back of the boat.
Yeah, so I've got the limit. exactly what Pete had.
Yeah, we've given, before I should say, this is grandfathered because we changed the law after that.
Yeah.
Because that's a, you know.
But I did change the holders because they ping off too easily. So now I can quick release them, and they're on just low-tech plywood frames.
Yes.
Just to give them some rigidity as well.
That's a lot of power. Yeah, what we changed is we don't let people put 200 watts on in total outside. You've got to keep 50 below, but that's fine.
Yeah.
We didn't want to cause angst there. South Atlantic.
I'm grateful for that.
Vinyled the servo blade to stop turbulence.
Well, yeah. There's in fact, my crew of preparateur, my family, did that back in Lagos.
Yeah.
It's not quite the job I would like. They were worried about how sanding it with the kit up. But we put some. It's got imprinted in it South Atlantic, which is great, but it's just drag.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I'd really like on this, because I don't like, when I'm not using it, I don't like it trailing.
Yes.
I would rather have a kick-up rudder. Like the Sea Feather does.
Yep, sure.
And I think also downwind, I suspect that vane, the wind vane, I talked to a friend of mine, Andy Peden, who uses an Aries wind vane a lot, and he was saying for off-wind work, that wind vane itself is probably too small.
Yeah, there was actually two. They have a
I
big
think
one
that
and a
is
small
the
one.
big
Is that
one.
the big one?
I think that is the big one. I'll
Yeah.
check, because again, it was my team that put it on.
Yep.
And,
anyway, that's cool.
Let's
You got
see.
copper coat.
yeah, copper coat.
Yeah.
And that was why I was a bit late in Lagos, is I had an arrangement with the boatyard. When I came back from Vietnam, I had an arrangement to put the boat in a boat shed in Arzal in France in November and paint her inside. And then they had a change of management or something and said, no, the insurance wouldn't allow that, which was really inconvenient. So I started repainting in my garden. We're talking November in Brittany.
Yeah.
And the temperature for copper coat's pretty
Sensitive.
critical.
Yeah.
Anything below 10 degrees, it's not going to cure.
Yep.
And any humidity, it's not going to work. And I wanted to paint the top side. So I ended up putting it in a friend's barn. You always go to a farmer when you need help. You curse them the rest of the time for mud in the road and stuff, but they're brilliant. They always help you out when you need it.
That's cool.
So I repainted her in a very muddy cow shed. So not the most glamorous of my boat projects.
That's cool. So you got the Ecomax there. You tested that? Is it working okay?
Yeah, that works fine actually. I like that.
Good.
Obviously here it'll be alarming all the time, but open ocean.
And you've got your...
Big fan of the... and we have to have that for the Ostar too. So that's plug and play. I can put that on rumour afterwards.
No, sounds good. Do you want to jump in the cockpit? And
Yeah,
I'll follow
sure.
you shortly. But you've got your racing helming position, backrest and seat.
Yeah,
This
I
is
live
the
there.
only,
So because I don't use the pilot much, and I intend to continue that way, I have just a spin lock. It looks a bit over sectioned, but actually you need it for the stiffness of the universal joint.
Yeah.
And from that, my helming position's up here most of the time. And I've just refined it with that because I was getting quite a lot of chafe on my back.
Yeah.
And so here, I've got a good view. I've got my weight in the right place. I very seldom sit further aft.
I hope you got a big hat because I can see you intend to be there quite a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot faster than the wind vane.
I've got my rooster sun hat. Very smart. You'll see that on the start line.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty slick. Yeah.
Very much like a Tilly.
And so you've got a shock cord. You've got a shock cord there to centralise the tiller.
That needs a little bit of attention, but it was just actually for when I'm not putting a tiller pilot or anything, just to quickly put it on.
Yep.
If I need to, I can hook it on quickly. Normally over just the tiller pilot bracket. It needs it. My younger daughter's boyfriend. He fit it, but just needs a bit more attention.
Yep.
But it's the sort of thing we do also in the skiff. So I like to do in a Musto skiff for International 14. It just, if ever you do capsize, for example, it doesn't put the helm always in that position. As soon as you're righting, it wants to bear away. So.
Well, you shouldn't be doing that on this boat. But anyway, that's another story. You
be.
might capsize, but you'll come back up again.
She'll probably be on her side a fair bit.
Yeah, that happens. Okay, I'll take my shoes off. And,
welcome
I'll
aboard.
follow you down.
There's just a little pad there, so
just
watch it.
No, it's okay.
So it might be a bit slippery.
I've got my foot protectors on.
Oh, very nice.
So, all right. So this is very, very different in some ways. That I can see I think you're the only one that I've seen gear up for serious helming. You know what I mean? Like I know that Renault is pretty quick and a few others, but I can see you're coming from a whole different angle. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Quite minimalist, quite Spartan.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're critical. I've seen your comments online in the past, even when Pete had the boat, that the Kiwi grip is really reliable, but it is abrasive.
Oh yeah. We won't talk about non-skid.
So you'll see from Decathlon, I've got a couple of comfy little cushions just to stop too much discomfort.
Very cool. All right. And you've got a reasonably good Dodger. That's the same as Pete had.
Yeah, actually, I do need to repair that. It's one again, Pete. I think Pete probably made himself.
Yeah, he did, I think.
And
so what I call a 50% Dodger.
Yeah, and I don't have it out very much. I mean, I haven't so far, but obviously when waves really broke down, I keep it out. I just need a little bit of repair there. So it's just starting to show its age.
Yeah. No, that'll go the distance.
The problem with these boats is everything's so thick, the plywood and stuff, that when you put fittings on, it's quite hard to get the bolts that are long enough routinely.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, so these could do with a little chock surmount. It's just the outhaul and the vang, the kicker. But it's just with this gets in the way. So that comes out definitely to work the vang. But most of the leach control is on main sheet tension and traveller.
Yeah. Geez, I can feel your boat is lighter than most.
Get on board. I tell you, it's got so much food in.
Oh, you need a bit. Okay, jump down below.
I have
we'll
enough
have a quick
food
squeeze
to
here.
get me to Tahiti at least, because I reckon that's the next safe delivery, being EU and all that.
Yep. No, it's very cool. We've got a lot of contrast in the fleet, actually, with all the sailors. I think, in fact, even Jacob now is trying to... I'm coming down this way. Even Jacob is trying to increase his performance potential because he's living on board and he's got a hard copy library. So, it's a while since I've been on here.
Yeah.
I love your 10 centimetre cushions. They're really good.
10 mil.
So this is the sign of the real racing man. So that is 10 mil.
10 mil, Decathlon yoga mat.
That's exactly what I had on Trekker.
Yeah.
The difference is that on Trekker, I was actually using it folded over on the cabin sole here. So I'd sit on the step and lunge forward on my knees, and that's where I'd be working. But I had luxurious sleeping arrangements, with proper upholstery.
It is important, but on the other hand, you don't want to sleep too deeply. You need to be quite alert.
Too true.
So it helps. I mean, I have aches and pains, maybe because it's a little bit hard, but I like sleeping on the floor.
I'm trying to go wide angle and it won't go. It's a very hit and miss. Well, okay. All right, so this is us. I'm familiar with this, but it all looks very functional again. Nothing overdone.
Yeah, nothing that Pete, Pete put these in. He raved about these. They probably, the elastic I could probably replace now, but they're quite useful, handy stowage. But I try not to put too much. I try to just get it. All my stuff is just under the bunks.
Under the bunks, that's what we do.
And they're absolutely chock-a-block with. I've got MX3, my food provider. They do the Vendée Globe based in Les Sables d'Olonne. Yeah. And they, I think they can deliver the next batch quite easily to Tahiti, which is why I chose them.
Yeah, cool.
Radix Nutrition, the New Zealand company, they've got there's some complications with how we'd receive, although their food's really good, and I think probably certainly if you're a vegan, vegetarian, the most the most enticing.
Yeah.
So I've got probably about 150 days worth of food, so I can easily get to Tahiti with it, and
that's
it's
amazing,
all stacked in there. But
these boats can suck up gear.
Yeah,
and that's what we say to them. We've got a two-handed division. It's creating a real lot of interest for the next Transat.
Yeah,
you can easily have two people across the paddock.
Yeah, I'm tempted to do it with my younger daughter. See if she can get some time. She's an activist for Surfers Against Sewage.
Okay, so and you're taking your mandatory stand-up paddleboard for the holiday season.
Yeah, holiday season. So my view always was, my comments about the outboards, although it was actually useful to have the outboard when we came in the other night. But it's a lot of weight to carry around. They hardly ever use. So we could scull in and. But I want to be independent, so those sort of more remote anchorages, particularly Cocos Islands, you've already.
You'll have fun.
You'll have fun. But you're not an encumbrance to anybody. You can anchor somewhere.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Well, as you know, we've just that's important.
And actually, it's a good way. Once I lash the water containers in and put that on top, lash on top, it just holds everything down. So
you just got central water tanks, just boom boom.
Just
There's all your water in the middle there.
Yeah. I don't really have provision to stack them to windward, and.
It's not going to do a lot.
But the boat's not very beamy. It's not. No. It's more mindset really. Yeah. But there are some ways you could perhaps put them further aft. But I think I like to keep it concentrated.
Yes. Okay, so you've got the big step here, life raft and gear down below underneath it. So it's a bit of a
grab bags. Grab bag and life raft because the two go hand in hand. It made sense to keep them together.
Yep, absolutely.
Back 50
usual bits down the end there. Yeah.
So everything in these sort of rooster waterproof bags.
VHF. Really Geez, you've even got a little lightweight handheld VHF. That's a little one. But that's full. Meets the rule. It's a good one. It's just not a heavy one. A little VHF. Is this Pete's VHF?
Yeah, I've got an ICOM, but I find that the battery's little handheld ICOM, but it's maybe showing its age. So I bought that just as a backup. So I've got 2 handheld VHF.
Yeah.
Because actually, we had a quick discussion when I came in on VHF, but it's inconvenient if you haven't got your handheld in the cockpit.
Yeah, too true.
That one's
What's that one?
That's one
of the
cameras.
You Kodak.
Yeah, it's just a fairly new waterproof Kodak.
It's hard to keep up with what's going on. Yeah. They lost the ball many years ago, but they're trying to come back.
Getting back in the game. Yeah. And it's quite nice. I mean, it's basic level.
That's
it's
cool.
A bit like
it looks good.
The waterproof camera.
Looks good.
But there's a few. I mean, you see, it's frustrating when you have to charge everything. But one of the GoPros, the touch screen's not working.
Pete was the maestro of electrical systems. Panel box.
He had a good setup. I've changed it.
In fact, we copied his circuitry. We started from there and modified it for us. But this is a really good one. It's not too sophisticated. Pretty simple. A waterproof box, watertight glands everywhere. Fantastic. Yeah.
And I did change the solar panel controllers. I've got a really good advisor in Arzal E3 Electronic, Olivier Caron.
That's
Carrie
cool.
And he gave me advice. So for the emergency, the additional solar panel to be independent, that you can plug it in and it can feed the batteries through a controller.
Yeah,
and
cool.
It was just how do you manage it to keep the 2 batteries separated so you're never drawing, you're a standalone pilot battery, but your domestics, you're never cross-coupling the 2.
Yeah, exactly. Have you got 2 pilots or 1?
I've got 2 tiller pilots, both the same, one for spare, and kept them exactly what Pete had, the Simrad TP.
Yeah, they're good.
And it runs well.
Yeah, we followed that. Raymarin used to be one of my partners for 15 years, but now it seems Simrad for the tiller pilot is the one to get.
Yeah, interesting. So I've got a Raymarin for my Ostar yacht.
Yeah.
And again, you form a close bond with those pilots when you say you're on your own.
Yep, too true. And the folks was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and I don't have it. It doesn't look like that at sea. It's completely empty at sea, or the sails come back, or the spinnakers can stay forward. The anchor's lashed there.
Everything you're saying is fast.
Yeah.
Because what happens is it's such a good empty space. You tend to chuck everything up there. Yeah. And I realised when I left, I could feel it. I could feel. It's interesting. When I left in Trekker, I sailed the qualifier. I was learning to sail the boat. And had some heavy weather, and it was all really cool. When we started here, the first couple of days, I started thinking, the boat just doesn't feel right, It doesn't feel right. And so in the end, I thought I must have too much weight up front. Pulled the water back, put it in the back of the cockpit, and all of a sudden it started to work. When I saw the video of me crossing the start line, like 6 months after we finished, I thought, look at that, I'm sailing and the bow's not moving. It's really, and you'll see that on some of the boats here, but we don't talk about that.
She's quite full bowed, so there's never any danger of her.
No,
it doesn't seem to be danger of her bearing her bow much. She's really, that reserve of buoyancy, she sort of lifts.
Yep.
So you could shoot. That's probably the reason you can carry weight and be unaware of the speed penalty because the boat will still sail nicely.
It's quite a classic. Part of the concept was it had to carry 750 kilos, which was about its own structural weight. And it easily does. When you guys did the cram up on the boat, the waterline went way down, but you could sail with that because we have a minimum. We have a distance measure because there is an upper weight limit. If someone was too heavy, we wouldn't let them go. No one's reached it yet, and I was looking at it when it was there. It wasn't trimmed right, but it was still probably borderline. It was anyway. Another story. We digress. So standard jet boil.
Yeah, jet boil. And my daughter India, she's coming out to Antigua. So because I'm using freeze dried food for the whole year and a bit.
Jeepers.
I said actually.
Are you doing a science project on that?
Yeah, that was the appeal of the Radix one. I think the Radix will be quite good.
Yeah.
And the French one is. MX3 is good food, but it's a little bit more conventional. I think Radix have put thinking into sports nutrition long term. But anyway, India will bring out a second jet boil because that's critical if that fails.
Yeah.
I've got some MSR ones, but they don't, which is another brand, but they don't quite fit the gimbal the same way.
I'm not a big fan of freeze-dried, so I never really cooked. I only turned the stove on 3 times, but I had a jet boil and a metho Origami.
Yeah, alcohol stove.
But I had the one that would next size up, so you could vary the temperature, the flame rather.
Oh, yeah.
So you could actually cook in it. Those ones are all boiled.
Yeah.
So you're running your YB inside now?
No, I put it in just to do the test. I've just charged it, so it's back up to 100%.
Okay,
and then I'll put it back on deck.
You're still pinging at the moment. So.
Yeah, and I didn't leave it on deck.
Yeah.
in port. So,
Yeah. Okay. You got your GoPros there, so you're all set. We're looking
I
forward to
think
seeing
so.
the vision.
One's playing up. One
Yep.
battery's dead.
Yep.
Usual
Okay.
stuff.
Working on the.
Oh yeah,
on
I've
the
got to
stuff.
glue on. I think you can
Yep.
shred your feet on those. So
Yeah.
when I get the Sikaflex out to do those chain plates today,
Yes.
I'll just put some cups
Well,
on.
this
over
is
there.
absolutely the minimalist boat. You're more minimal than Renaud. So you got the OBS pod that Pete built. That's cool. If
Yeah.
people are watching this, you can see Pete's videos on on YouTube. I forget what the title is, but
I
just
think
go
it's
Globe
North
580.
Latitude.
North Latitude or
something like that. But if
Yeah,
you
it's
do
a good one.
Origami, Transat,
Yeah, it's a good one.
he did a great.
He's got a
great
good camera
footage.
presence.
Yeah.
All right, and so you're fully just a quick one. You're fully retired from the Navy now, or just
Yeah, I did.
You're
I
free.
did 37 years in the Navy.
37?
And it was great. It passed like that.
yeah?
I had some great
division
jobs.
section were you involved with?
I was a warfare officer, Fleet
Yeah.
Air Arms, so
Okay.
an aviator, warfare officer,
Yeah,
commanded of
aviator, you're
frigate.
flying as well.
Yeah,
What were you flying?
Seeking Mark 6 anti-submarine helicopters.
Far out.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and then had a very fortunate. I commanded a really great ship, HMS Campbelltown. I was
Yeah.
commander of an aircraft carrier,
Yeah,
HMS Illustrious. And
yeah,
I worked in the White House
yeah.
with George Bush Jr. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I was a diplomat in Paris and in Rome, and then
Holy
my last
dooly!
job-
Excuse me.
I know, joined the Navy.
Should we censor some of this, or is your
No,
freedom of
no, I
information
can't,
is?
honestly, and I can't. And the other thing is, I'm sailing under the burgee of the Royal Navy Sailing Association, and that was probably the organisation that kept me in the Navy for 37 years because it was so supportive of sailing too.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful to them.
Yeah.
Continue to be grateful to them, and they're celebrating a big anniversary this year, so there's quite a lot going on.
Fantastic. So they'll all be following.
I don't know. I'm
They
not
will.
obliged. Some of my mates
They
are.
will. I just
Normally
want to know.
they heckle me.
We had him all this time, and he's crazy.
Yeah.
Look at that. Jeepers, we got it wrong.
I think I think one comment I put in the practical boat owner resonated with most of them. Anyone who was part of my team when I was managing the team, they said that admin's not my thing. And my replacement is sort of rear commodore dinghies,
Yeah.
a few in between us. But yeah, Natalie,
But you
she
kept up
very
with us.
quickly picked up on that. So thanks, Nat.
Well, we've never had time to chat because I'm a frustrated flyer too.
Yeah,
I've
I
had
saw that.
endorsements
You
on
did
all
some-
sorts of things.
yeah.
You know, I had a helicopter, I had a Hughes 300 on floats.
Wow,
And
on
then I did a
floats.
gyrocopter around Australia and the world first flight and all sorts, you know, gliders, and, you know,
Yeah.
general, all sorts of shit. But
Yeah,
anyway.
gliding appeals and hang gliders and stuff.
Yeah, well, I had a
But,
trike. I had a trike as well because we had a flying boat on our other boat, like a Polaris flying fib. Anyway, long story. But we got things to talk about then.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
if commercial flying wouldn't necessarily appeal to me other than float plane flying or
yeah.
seaboat.
But good on you. We
Flying boat
have a
flying.
great deal of respect
That'd
for
be
all
good
our
fun.
servicemen
Yeah,
and women.
and
yeah.
it's thank you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, and it was a great career. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And now I settled in France when I came back from Hawaii, and I'm due to try I'm sailing. Time's more important than money to me, so I'm an artist. So
Yeah,
big
what's the story
change.
there? I haven't followed that. You say you're an artist.
Yes, I've always enjoyed painting. So
Yeah.
I'm, and part of Hawaiian Watercolour Society. So I was sort of selling a few paintings here and there, and
Oh, you're funding your
doing
trip
some
by selling
sculpture.
paintings. I like that
Well,
line.
I'll try, and then sculpture as well. I started doing some bronze sculpture.
Jeepers. So you're going to do some stuff on the way around?
I've brought some watercolours with me for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my aim is, and I've approached Adelaide Coles already, and part of Bloomsbury to see if they'd be interested in a written account of what went on. And my aim would be to hand illustrate that and paint that, make it a little different. But we'll see.
That's cool.
That may not come to
Did you
fruition.
hear that, Jane? We better be careful. It's all being recorded.
Oh.
It's all going in the book. You know, we better be careful.
It will be very
We better be
pleasant.
pleasant to him now instead of wrapping him. Oh well, that's amazing, eh? Because you're one of the ones that we've with some of the others we've had a strong internet relationship, for years. But with yourself, it's been I'm in, and I said, you bought Pete's boat. We hadn't had a lot of in-depth stuff, so I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation. It'll be fun.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I tend to drop off the radar quite a lot.
That's
It's
cool.
good for the soul.
All right, but I'll be talking to your manager. He's just as bad as you are. Jesus.
Sid,
Oh, Sid,
and
man. Sid the
I
man.
just realised in my press brief I didn't put a word in my. I can't
No, you
speak
didn't need to.
high enough.
he doesn't. He said, he's not worth it.
Well, he's not worth it. He's a slacker. Go on, Sid.
Absolutely.
How come I missed the start of the last bit?
I think we'll be talking, because it's funny when you're running an organisation like this and this event, you need sometimes, with the other events like Golden Globe and Ocean Globe, there's some little people that I have in the background that I often talk to, and he's already thrown his hat in the ring because he's got a wealth of experience as well.
I think he's a good sailor, he's experienced, he's a good Navy man.
And he'll be involved following you, so he's already on the program, so I can say, hey Sid, what are we going to do?
I know he's been helping out some of the other managers, and that's very much in his character.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've landed on my feet. He, by happenstance, he was based in Hawaii same time as me. We didn't really know each other before, but I bought a Soling, and he and his wife Jenny became my Soling crew.
Fantastic.
And then he bought a Soling because I took a bit too long to do one up. He got a bit frustrated, but that's why I say again in the Practical Boat Owner interview, if anyone's read that, there's a bit about, I'm the sort of procrastinating perfectionist, and he just gets stuff done. And between us, it works. We have our friction points, like anybody when the pressure's on. But
the pressure was on in Lagos. What I was seeing there, I filmed some stuff that no one else has seen yet, which we will get up somewhere. It's quite,
it was good fun.
It was an amazing story. It's a good thing to talk about because your family was there.
Yes.
I thought, geez, you must be paying serious pocket money. You arrived with the boat in pieces and you rebuilt it in about 4 days, and assembled it. And
they did an awesome job. India, Freya and Theo, my children, and then Mary and Harris, the sort of partners of Theo. Great job helping out.
Yeah.
And they're all, they run windsurfing centres. They're all sailors.
Really?
And they're practical people, so
they
that
just
makes
sense.
Turn their hand to whatever needs to be done. And we got a modicum of Christmas celebration in, and it was the first time I think we'd all been together properly since about 2016. So, family
Welcome
life.
To the world of services.
That's
so
cool. That was important to us as well. A good chance to sort of recuperate, recharge the batteries, and get to know each other as well.
Okay,
so set off.
A few simple questions to wrap up.
Yeah.
You're obviously a sailor. You're a competitive sailor. You're obviously a competitive person because you climbed the ladder quite well by the sound of it. And a strong achiever. But why the MGR? Where was the attraction?
That's easy. So I have a mini 650 that I've been building for the Navy. An Owen Clark prototype, but it's a bit of I'm a bit of a laughing stock really because it took me so long because of just Navy career. And when I bought the plan straight away when I saw your announcement, I thought, well, this is a great idea. That trying to get the cost of big, ambitious ocean racing down again, because we just, I think we're going to have a participation issue across the board with sailing. It wasn't elitist. It's in danger of becoming more so again, just because the cost prohibitive, and that's just fuel and materials.
It's speed.
But also
everything wants to go faster.
Yeah, and I know wasps and moths. I sail moths, and that's great fun. Skiffs, but putting out
even a wasp now is like in Australia $90,000 for not a wasp, a bloody it's the moth. The foiling.
Yeah, some of the foiling moths.
Foiling moths, $90,000 for a bloody 11-foot day boat. 11-foot day boat, single-handed.
For drag racing too, and so. What do you sailors, if they just sail those, do? What do they do when they drop off the plot? If they finish college sailing, if they're American or university team racing, how do they stay in the sport? And we grew up, crewing for the Grumpy Git at the sailing club and learning from them, sailing slower tactical boats. And we liked the fast boats, but there was a sort of broad range of ability and experience. And sailing Origami on the qualifier, because I'd only sailed it for 2 days, there were occasions I was completely in my comfort zone because it felt like, with the pole out, it felt like my Star or a National 12 downwind in the waves, depending on how much wind there was. Yeah. With the kite up, it felt like the 4000. It was all very familiar, but it's because of sailing different boats. And I think, the pressure on people's time, or the perception of pressure on people's time, means they don't commit to sports in quite the same way. It's very much, quick gratification and move on. And it takes a long while, as Jasmine no doubt will find out, to get to the standard to sort of do serious sailing. It's a long apprenticeship.
Yeah.
So I think, I think what you're doing, is getting apart from world sailing, but an alternative approach is proving really successful, and I wanted to give my full support to it.
Yeah, cool.
And I like challenges too, whether it's mountaineering, whether it's, in fact, many of us in the group are mountaineers, which is no coincidence.
Yeah.
But we like quite extreme challenges.
Yeah.
And you set it, but in a boat that remarkably is very seaworthy.
Yeah.
And one person we don't talk about much is Tristan Jones, who sailed the debutante.
Jeez, I know him really well.
Yeah. So and he's been, some people claim some of his stories were a bit too far-fetched, Incredible Voyage and what have you, and he was quite a raconteur. But
Absolutely.
I think he did most of what he says he did. He actually did. He's elaborated some of the stories maybe, but he sailed, the length and breadth of South America in his debutante, which is about the same size.
Yeah, yeah. Well, funny part, one of his books, I forget which one, he's looking for crew, he's all chopped up in the trimaran. Guy comes to the dock and he wants to join him and he says, well, can you sail? No. And he says, can you tie a knot? No. And blah, blah, blah. And those that know the stories will remember this line. He says, well, what can you do? And he said, I can sing and dance, right? And so he took him as crew. Right, bring it back about 15 years. I'm in Eden in South Australia, in New South Wales, in my little 29-footer, setting off out across the Pacific. And 2 o'clock in the morning, I did dug coming along the side, and this, I won't call it a ship box, but it was a 36-foot double ender with tyres hanging over the side, and this guy with a beard, and he says, can I tie alongside, because the fishing boat's everywhere else. And I thought, yeah, come on, because I've got a nice shiny hull and stuff. So anyway, next morning, when we finally get out, he's the guy that could sing and dance. Yeah, he married a girl in Eden, and they'd just come back from virtually halfway around, or most of the way around the world. And we had a huge banter on that one, so it's funny. But yeah, I read all Tristan's books, crazy. And in the end, here's the funny one, my ship that I had a ship called Sir Hubert Wilkins, 36-metre ice ship, helicopter, all the dive gear, recompression chambers, sort of supported by Australian Foods. But anyway, Dick Smith, long story. And we ended up registering it in Lake Titicaca, up the top, right? Yeah. I forgot the name of the country now. Anyway, it was
Bolivia.
Bolivia, yeah, because we had insurance issues, so we said, bugger it. Well, and I thought at the time, so Tristian would think this is cool, because of that story going up the highest thing. Anyway, we digress. I got to wrap this up.
No, it's a great story.
Yeah, well done. I'm looking forward. You just opened a few eyes, because I heard a whisper that you want to do the Vendée. You'd like to do the Vendée?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. And that's, they might look at me and think I'm a bit old. I've got some offer to do some preparateur work after this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the Ostar's still on the cards. I had some issues on the stability rating for the boat I bought and restored for the Ostar. But I've been talking to the organisers, and I think once I've done this, I said, look, I'm pretty serious. Just let Rumour sail, because she's a lovely boat. Yeah.
That's cool. All right, well, I just wanted to get that line about the Vendée clear, because obviously this is the best stepping stone. Start in a 580, then go 650, then Figaro and Vendée. So you're well ahead of everyone.
Well, a Figaro 3 would be great.
Good job.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, looking forward to chatting. Hang on to that, Jane, and we'll sign off. So we've got to go to lunch now.
Okay,
it's all hectic stuff. Thank you. That was fun. That was cool. This guy's interesting, and even I'm learning more. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay,
Thanks,
see you.